Hi there, this is Abel James, and welcome to the Fat Burning Man podcast. Wow, it's been a killer freaking week, hasn't it? South by Southwest came to Austin and tore up the town. We also had PaleoFX. Now, if you were there, I may have met you, which was really cool. But if you weren't, you totally missed out. You're going to have to come next year because it was just an amazing time. Learned tons of stuff and met some cool people. I actually put together a quick highlight video on my site in the last post if you want to check it out. If you were there and you saw some of the shirts that Allison and I were wearing, thank you for your comments. We're actually starting up this new thing called cavemanthink.com, so you can hop over there. If you enter your name, we're giving away some free shirts. And just a quick recap of what they are. Some of them, they're all silly, kind of caveman-themed shirts, like I Heart Organ Meat with a picture of an anatomically correct heart. We have a few cartoon dinosaurs and cartoon cavemen, and just one that's a simple club that I was wearing for my presentation. Also coming out of that, I want to let you guys know that I met a lot more people, and they're definitely going to be coming on the podcast soon. So now I have a long list, and my work is cut out for me. And lots of potential collaborations with some of the top people in paleo. So stay tuned for that, because there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff happening. Now, what I'd like to talk about today, which is a bit apropos given the whole pink slime fiasco that's come out recently. And if you're not aware of that, it's basically another nasty food additive that food manufacturers have been putting into our red meat. So what is it? Well, it's a red meat additive made of a bunch of crap and treated with ammonia that they inject into your red meat. So it's not necessarily surprising, but it's certainly pretty nasty. Another reason not to eat conventional feedstock or grain-fed meats. So if you're eating the grass-fed stuff, and especially if you're eating the local stuff, good for you, and keep it up. So here's a secret that the food industry doesn't want you to know. Nutrition facts are often completely inaccurate and mostly worthless. Look at the list of ingredients instead. Or I would even go as far as saying, try to buy food that doesn't even come with a label on it. Now here's the rub about nutrition facts. FDA loopholes allow food manufacturers to manipulate the nutrition facts by omitting chemicals, additives, trans fats, and other substances that can upset your body's natural metabolic process. Now here's a fun game that you can play, which I do from time to time. If you're ever at the supermarket, go ahead and pick up a box of diet ice cream and compare the weight on the front of the package to the total weight of all servings listed in the nutrition facts. And if that's difficult, that's on purpose. Because if it doesn't add up, you've just found all of the hidden chemicals, additives, sweeteners, emulsifiers, and other goodies. And it's not uncommon for some processed foods to have up to 50% of their weight completely unaccounted for. And that's creepy in my opinion. Food manufacturers are held to a higher standard, albeit not a perfect one, in the ingredient list, which requires that food be listed in descending order of predominance by weight. So become a hawk. Don't buy anything without looking at the ingredient list first. And if you see anything you don't recognize or you can't pronounce, just drop it. The healthiest foods are often the simplest ones, so aim for the fewest amount of ingredients possible. For example, if you're picking up almond butter, look for almonds and maybe some salt, but put down the jar if it has added sugars, oils, emulsifiers, preservatives, or anything else. These additives make products cheaper and last longer on the shelf, but they'll also make you fat. Don't eat chemicals, eat food. And another thing, don't believe anything that the marketers tell you. Watch out for deceptive marketing statements like fat-free, reduced fat, sugar-free, no added sugar, and diet. Pretty much anything with an exclamation point you want to avoid. What these phrases often mean in practical terms could be fat-free, but they compensate by adding tons of sugar and chemicals to compensate for the lack of flavor. Or it could be reduced fat, but increased carbs and stratospheric glycemic index. And then sugar-free often means packed full of artificial sweeteners. No added sugar. I like this one because the insane amount of naturally occurring sugars could be high enough to give you type 2 diabetes. Diet food because it's literally watered down to reduce calories. Oh, and it causes brain tumors in lab rats. Now you see this a lot. Diet foods literally are just watered down and such. They have fewer calories, less fat, and less of everything else because you're just getting less food. So be careful, too, about some statements that claim to be all natural or 100% natural, no preservatives, no artificial preservatives, or no artificial ingredients. Statements, unfortunately, like these mean absolutely nothing. Arsenic is 100% natural, too. And oftentimes, you'll see things called artificial or natural flavors at the end of a label. And I'm not going to say that you can never eat them. I certainly try not to, but there are instances where it's in something that I want to eat or drink. But it's probably worth you knowing a bit more about that. So the flavor industry practices its furtive magic in massive chemical factories off the New Jersey Turnpike, and it's worth millions of dollars. Never heard of it? That's probably because food manufacturers in the fast food industry would rather you didn't know that their food relies on test tube chemicals to give it any semblance of smell or flavor. Developed by squirrely technicians in lab coats and gas masks, and purple-suited men pulling ominous levers, chemical flavors are largely responsible for giving processed foods smells and tastes to create the illusion of real food. Distinctions between artificial and natural flavors are relatively meaningless and based more on how the flavor has been manufactured than on the chemicals it actually contains. So be warned, if you read natural flavor or artificial flavor on the label, you're holding a chemical soup. If you'd like an example of what a typical artificial strawberry flavor, such as that found in a McDonald's strawberry milkshake, might look like, then take a look at the show notes, because I can't even pronounce half of this stuff. And when it comes to fast food and marketing, forget about it. I was just watching an episode of one of my favorite shows, Conan, and saw for the umpteenth time a commercial culminating in something that has always amused and infuriated me. Wendy's preposterous slogan, "You know when it's real." These guys are sharks. Their food is poison, and they know it. And we do too, is the craziest part of all of that. I can't think of any other slogan dripping in so much irony as Wendy's. You know when it's real. Firstly, I want to point out that we live in an age when our standards are so shockingly low that companies advertise their food as being made with real ingredients. And worse, it's not even true. But okay, Wendy's, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for a moment. Maybe you revamped your ingredients. Let's take a walk through some of the ingredients in the harmless-sounding Assaggio Ranch Chicken Club. I'm just going to read the first few lines, and so you know there are, 10 of them on my computer here. The first few lines of the chicken fillet, the home-style chicken fillet. It starts with chicken breast, water, modified food starch, seasoning, salt, maltodextrin, flavoring, modified cornstarch, autolyzed yeast extract, MSG, and then chicken broth, chicken fat, citric acid, dextrin, lactic acid, sodium phosphates, wheat flour, bleached wheat flour, salt, modified cornstarch. I could go on forever with this stuff, especially when you add all of these ingredients together, looking at the chicken fillet and then the toasted bun and the artificial cheese and the artificial bacon. It just becomes mind-numbing. And I'll include a link in the show notes also for some of these ingredients. But basically, what does this tell us? Is this clever marketing? Are we really that stupid? How did they get away with this? Yeah, I'll take my chicken with an anti-foaming agent, please. Oh, and don't forget the acid dicarbonate in my bun. Thanks. Clearly, there's nothing real about Wendy's food. Its ingredient lists are dripping with preservatives, emulsifiers, chemical toxins, and euphemisms. Now, I could walk you through them and why they're bad for you like I do in my book, but let's suffice it to say, these ingredients, number one, are not food. Number two, cause minimal damage at best. And number three, some are scientifically proven to be toxic to humans. And it may sound like I'm singling out Wendy's for poisoning America, but for the record, the same health risk and issues apply to almost all fast foods. But at least the other food chains advertise with silly slogans like, "I'm loving it," or with creepy costume men in cardboard crowns streaking across football seats. They usually don't have the balls to lie straight to your face and tell you that food is something that it isn't. But apparently, Wendy's has the balls. So what have we learned? Wendy's is lying to you. Fast food companies blatantly lie to our faces every single day and not only get away with it, but profit from it. No matter what you order from Wendy's or any other fast food restaurant, you're buying fake food. It will not make you lean, healthy, or strong, but it will make them rich. Every time you buy fast food, you're silently casting your vote to encourage this marketing monster to keep lumbering along, leaving legions of fat, diseased Americans in its wake. In other words, when you buy fast food, not only are you sacrificing your own health, but you are enabling this twisted system to thrive. So what can you do then? Unfortunately, in this day and age, you need to look out for yourself and those around you when it comes to food choices and safety. Before you treat something like food by eating it, make sure that it's actually food. Now, if you want health, you need to eat foods that nourish your body, not slowly poison it with empty calories, preservatives, chemicals, and toxins. Don't buy fast food. Go to your local farmer's market, co-op, natural food store, farm, the supermarket, or grow and hunt your own food. If you're really serious about improving your body and your health, eat real food. Now, how does Wendy's get away with this blatant deception? What can we do about it? Same thing with food manufacturers. The short term is just look out for your friends and family and for yourself. Make sure that you're putting the highest quality food, real food, in your body as you can, and your body will reward you with a lower body fat, higher muscle, and you'll be the leanest and healthiest you ever have. That's really the secret to health, 80% of it anyway. Now I'm going to end with a quick story that was the main reason to why I wanted to spread the word about health and why I devote a lot of my time to doing that these days. So some of you may recall that in a past life, right after college, I was paying off my loans by taking a job in consulting. And we consulted with Fortune 500, Fortune 100, and some international companies. And some of the companies that we worked with were food manufacturers. And so that was really my first taste of what happens behind the curtains. And basically what we did there is we tried to take their processes and make them even more efficient. So if that meant making their marketing better, we did that. If that meant making their systems better, we did that. Technology, etc. Now, I remember sitting down with this one particular, coffee creamer substitute company. I can't give you the actual name because I'm sworn to confidence in that. But I remember sitting down with them. And some of the executives, we were just making small talk. And I'm like, so what's your favorite flavor of this coffee creamer? And they said, oh, man, we don't touch that stuff. It's poison. And I was shocked. I just sat there looking at them speechless because the whole point of this meeting was to how to figure out how to sell more of this stuff that they call poison to more people in America when they won't even touch it. In my opinion, that sums up the state of where we're at with food in America right now. If the people who are making it won't even touch it because it's poison, should you? Should you let them trick you into thinking that it's actually not that bad for you? Well, you can't go wrong assuming that it is that bad for you, that fake food is poison. And maybe it won't kill you right away. I can't predict, and science can't predict all of the things that it's doing in your body because a lot of these chemicals are so new that science has no idea what they are and how they function in your body yet. Now, if you eat real food that's been guaranteed to improve health for thousands and thousands of years, then you're going to be just fine. I'm going to leave you with that. Eat more real food, eat less fake food, and keep in touch. I always love hearing from you guys. Cheers. I'll talk to you soon.